What's up, kiddos? Now or never. Clinton Yates, Kirk Morrison, NFL veteran here. I'm just a loudmouth who writes about sports. This guy actually knows something about football, and it looks like we might not have any preseason games for 2020. Now, there's a money element here. There's obviously the health element here. What was your first reaction to this, Kirk, when you heard that they were going to be banging out the preseason?
First of all, I was like, why should we be surprised? You mentioned it, Clinton. It's 2020, the year of change. We got to embrace change. And now, so when I first hear this, I'm thinking that the NFL is finally looking at what's going on in its lower levels or lower divisions of football, right? High school, they don't have preseason games. Colleges, they don't have preseason games. Everybody just plays in week one. And in a year in which so much chaos, so much change, so much unknown, I think the NFL finally got on board and said, you know what? We probably don't need the preseason this year. Let's just go straight to week one. I think that's the best thing that you can do for a season like this.
How does this affect guys, though, lower down the roster scale in terms of the depth chart? Normally, those preseason games are used as an evaluation period for many guys, and dudes make teams who end up being impact players. What do you think? How does it bode for those kind of guys, the marginal dudes on NFL rosters?
Well, I don't want to marginalize those guys, and I really don't. But we're talking about those types of guys. We're talking about the end man on your rosters, right? We're talking about the Victor Cruz. Yes, he emerged as a big-time player, but he started off as what? A guy who was just the end man on the roster. Those guys will still be present. Those guys will still be around. They just got to ball out during training camp. They got to utilize every opportunity that they have and just go make some plays. But I think, honestly, when you look at the way the process is going to look this year, if there's no training camps, to me, it just seems that the starters are going to get a lot of work. You're going to get guys behind them, their second and third string, but you can monitor guys' workload. I think we'll probably see one of the healthiest week ones that we've possibly seen in a long time in the NFL history.
That's an interesting point, and that's the last thing I'll ask you going forward. Do you think once, presumably, the pandemic is gone and we get back to a regular schedule in the NFL, this is going to be something that they're going to adopt? We've heard discussions about moving down to 2 preseason games before, perhaps with the expansion of the season. Is this going to change anything for just the regular operation of the league from a schedule standpoint, as you see, Kirk?
I think that they still may go back, but less preseason games. When I saw that they cut it from 4 to 2, I think that was probably the magic number, just because there's so much revenue out there that not only the players and the owners can gain from just 2 preseason games. Maybe have the offseason program a little bit longer for guys to get the work in and get the time, like you mentioned, for those younger players. But I think the new norm, we won't see 4 preseason games. We had already talked about that before. I think it's 2 or none, and I think this season may be, hey, if it works well, I think you may go away with preseason games. We just got to figure out how do we get that money back, though.
Quickly, what's your last best memory from a preseason game in your career?
Oh, I just think that basically going from practice to an actual real game, like the speed is totally different. I remember being on a kickoff return once, and in practice, I can, basically set my block up at about the 30-yard line, and hey, I'm good to go. I got in a preseason game, and next thing I know, I set my block up at the 30, and the guy was already ran past me. I said, whoa, this is a different speed, brother. And that's what I think guys are going to have to get used to, Clinton, when regular season comes. Practice speed, totally different than game speed.
Kirk Morrison, he played in the NFL for many years. I just watch the league right now, but less games to watch. It's now or never. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.